p.m. in Abu Dhabi, and it should be 7:40 p.m. in India. Today is 25th of May, 2024, and topic of today's discussion is conflicts, causes, resolution, and prevention. Okay, so this topic has been requested by, I think, Indralda, right? Indralda, you requested for conflict.
Yes. Yeah, I requested
okay.
for it.
Right. So just to differentiate between what we had, the last session, that is conflict in the relationships or identity conflicts. But today we will talk in general the overall why the conflict at all arises, and then what is the resolution methods and the prevention methods, and so on and so forth. Okay. Very basic. I don't want to make it very complicated. Just simply let us review. All of us, we know this, what is conflict, but still, at the sake of today's discussion, I will just touch upon that. Conflict is basically the disagreement on any issue with somebody else. And disagreement is a very milder term. So then slowly, the difference in opinion or different view, when it escalates, then it becomes like it enhances into the finally the disagreement, then misunderstanding, then farming up their own positions, and finally it so happened that it become enigmatic to each other. That is the range of the conflicts. So we are now listening to many of the conflicts in the different countries, and which some of the cases lead to some war and things like that. So this is the higher level of conflict. So conflicts are in our personal level. So it can start with any other person, maybe start within the family. That part of the thing I already discussed last session fully. So I'm not going there. Relationship with the family and friends and colleagues and things like that, that already discussed. So now we go into a little broader perspective, like our interpersonal thing has been accepted. Then now it is going to the conflict with, sometimes it is against some group, or maybe the society, or maybe the place we live in. It can be higher conflict with, between two, like two entities. Maybe their backgrounds are different. Maybe it is a religious, or maybe it is something to man-made divisions like caste and things like that. It can be conflict between two of those groups, and it can be conflict between two states, or maybe two countries, or overall it can be the conflict between the races, different race of human being, or conflict between the genders, or conflict even with the nature and the human, and things like that. So it is in a much greater scale. So first, just fundamentally asking about why the conflict happens. Just we say it is basically the difference in viewpoint. I'm just going to the second point. I'll come back to again the second part of the first point. So difference in viewpoint, why it happens? Because all of us, we have a free will, and free will, we have a choices. We can make our own choices. We may have some likings and dislikings, or in that sense, maybe we don't see everything in the equal measure. Something is our favorite, so we means we can accept many things, but some people, maybe some of them we cannot accept. So they are like enigmatic. So whatever they do or say, it is not, or even a group, maybe whatever they say, do, or apply, that we protest that, we counter that, and things like that. So these are the kind of thing happens. Primary, basically, all of us, we have a free will. So that is nothing wrong in having a particular view. And but if it is if it is not balanced, then that is called bias. Like we are agree to ignore some of the deficiencies on some group or some people or some country or something, but on the other hand, some other people or group that do that, we cannot tolerate it. It is biased is again milder term. It can be a hypocrisy or some rule for me, but something else for the others. And our own preferences, like we prefer someone, so then we just go ahead with it. We say that fine, it is all whatever that person sees and does, it's all good, all fine, no issues with that. In Hindi there is a, I think, saying, jisko pasand karte hain usko सात खून माफ. Okay, means if we like somebody, then whatever mistake it does, it doesn't matter. But if somebody we don't like, in a minor thing also, we pick it up and just enhance it to look that other person look bad. Yeah? So this is the kind of thing called bias. So the biased view or lopsided view. So and based on our preferences, we prefer somebody, so we ignore many not so good qualities in them. Yeah. It also, the difference in viewpoint comes from the different conditioning. Like if the two people come from the different background, now it is like we are all global citizens. Sometimes we may meet with some other country and some other people having different background. Suppose I came from the Bengal and maybe somebody else and born and brought up say maybe in Kerala, or maybe somebody born and brought up in Kashmir. Maybe because of the background reason, so we may have a difference in view, and that is quite common. And in fact, it is understandable because some of the things we not considered. I'm talking few states in our own country, but it can be international. Somebody coming from Mongolia, I may not be able to gel with that person properly because their value system is different than my value system. I was taught, my educational conditioning, childhood conditioning doesn't match with that. These kind of things. Or maybe some African tribe, what they practice, maybe for me it is strictly no. It is not acceptable. But in their society it is acceptable. It's all fine with them. So anyway, so these causes that this is the background or conditioning, I say. And that also comes into the play, difference in viewpoint. Or next point was about the blind spots of ours. Blind spot means we don't know that we don't know. Some of the areas, maybe I'm not aware that I don't know about it. So, and these blind spots are, people say that it is, you should talk politely with others. I'm just giving some rough example just to make this point understood. Polite, but you yourself, when you talk, maybe your tone, the way of throwing the voice is not very conducive, not friendly. And for you, it may be normal, but for others, just you're saying normal things, but other people will take it as an offense. Yeah. So that is why that in the communication, those who have studied communication, they are into the business of communication. They are many things they have to take note of it, like how the choice of words and how your tonal quality, how you project it, what is your underlying tone of the things you are saying, even including your body language, how you say things. Huh? So same thing, maybe saying like this and saying like that, somebody takes it offensive. There was some, I know there are cases where that one marriage broke because that one person to his spouse, always to his wife, always talking like this, do this, do that, and just finger. But that person, he doesn't know that this is offensive. You should not, talk like that. Yeah. do this, keep it there, and just go out from here. This gesture, just one finger gesture, that makes it offensive. Okay. So these are the kind of things it is. If it is, if I don't know that I have this kind of habit, I may be offending people left, right, and center without knowing that the reason for their offense. And most of the time I'll say, why they're behaving some awkward way with me, or why they avoiding me, or why they're, like anti, against me. Because you have some habit, you don't know that you have it, but everybody else, they know you have it. And they get offended by it because they don't know it is coming from your blind spot or not knowing it. They think it is your attitude. And that your attitude of telling somebody like this, that they think you are having a superiority complex. Anyway, I don't want to go into too much detail. I hope you understood what I'm saying. And another part is about truly it is an ego play, like difference in viewpoint, because your ego cannot accept that you are anything below or lower than someone. You wanted to establish your superiority in power or intelligence, or you may have your background or anything, So you establish superiority, and that makes the difference, because you don't consider somebody is at par with you because of the background, or maybe the financial status, or your position in the office, what job you do. Somebody should be lower than you, and they cannot have the same, same footing, same say, and all this kind of thing. That is ego. All these things are the causes of the difference in viewpoint, because I see my world the way, if it is somebody else's world is not the similar, I will take it as an offense, and I like to contradict that. I like to challenge that, and there the conflict arises, and that is like harvest for the conflicts, because of my own attitude, because of my limited view, because of maybe my background, my conditioning, my biases, my preferences, and choices I made out of free will. Everybody has a right to make a choice. Maybe I choose not to go with that person, or not to, I don't, deny certain things. Suppose somebody said, I don't believe in whatever, I don't believe in the social norms, I like to experiment with my, okay, fine. But, that is your free will choices you make, but you go with that, and then the trouble comes later on. Anyway, so origin is of difference in viewpoint. These are the things I said. Okay, now little bit come back to the first point. What I mentioned is why conflicts arise in our life. Now I have just second point. I explained what are the kind of the origin of conflicts because difference in viewpoint. So why difference in viewpoint happens? Because of this. It is fact. It is truth that we are all different. But spiritual way of looking at it is we are all unique. That's why we are, of course, different from each other. But that does not mean we are anything lower or anything higher than anyone else, or even in that case, we are not similar to anybody else either, because we are unique. So spiritual understanding is that if you are facing, now I'm talking about if you are facing conflict, you don't know why it came. But particularly if it is coming from your own blind spot or your own ego, you may not be knowing it, that you are creating it. You think I did nothing wrong, but you did. Everybody else, they can confirm that you did that. But we don't have that feedback loop to understand that. That's what always we feel that there is nothing wrong. In fact, the people who have the biggest blind spots, lot of things they don't know that they don't know. They think I know everything because their blind spot is so big. They don't think that anything is beyond their understanding or beyond the thing they know. So, and it's also played by the ego. So whoever says I know everything, it is understood that blind spot is so big that ignorance in his or her mind doesn't exist. Yeah. So that is a big ego thing. Anyway, so let us come back to again why it arises. It is clear. Now the thing is, spiritual understanding of the conflict is, conflict only arises in our lives if internally we are conflicted. Okay, we have some conflict within ourselves, then it is projected into the external world. We got attracted into, we got trapped into, we got moved into some kind of conflict with somebody else, maybe in not every area of our life, maybe some area, we fall into that because internally we are not at peace, not everything is settled, not everything is balanced. And that's why, because of our behavior, our words, our actions, or somehow, it comes out and we attract that kind of energy into our life, the law of attraction. And then some situation, maybe actually we have been created. External world is the way it is. It is neither in favor of you nor against you. It is like like a blackboard, or whatever you draw, similar drawing will come out, right? If you are rotating your hand, then circle will come out. If you do like this, a square will come out. But if you wish to get a circle, but you are always write a straight line, then you never get a circle. But you think that I'm drawing for so long, why circle is not coming? Because it is not, you have not, that drawn it properly, with a full awareness and understanding. That awareness, understanding part will come little later. So the fundamentally why conflict arises in our life spiritually, it is because internally somewhere we have been conflicted. We have some conflict within us, and that reflects outside in our outside environment, outside world, or family, in our society, the countries, and all those things. All those things. If somebody is very, very powerful, like a head of the state, if that person is having some kind of conflict within, that reflects into the country, and maybe that person can go for war, kill many people, because there is some internal conflict which is not sorted out, not solved, and pumped by the ego, and have this external power, political power, whatever power they have. Or somebody may be having huge money power, and they think they can buy everything, so they go and do whatever they wish to. Okay. So this is basically the conflicted inside, which comes out through our interaction with the external world. And jaise karni waise bharni, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So if we create conflict through our thoughts, words, and actions, if it comes out into the external world, then external world will respond this way. So this is the spiritual understanding of why the conflicts arise in our life. That gives a clue, by the way, means if you heal our internal part, inner state, our external life changes. Okay, I just leave it there for the timing. We'll come back later on this topic. Just for the timing, first part is to understand why there are so many conflicts in our lives. More we are internally we are in conflict, more we attract conflicts in our lives. So that is the fundamental reason. Okay, now let us go to the next point, which is, okay, we understood how conflict starts, like free will choices, biases, preferences, conditioning, blind spot, ego play, and so on and so forth. I just listed few. I'm not saying it is a comprehensive, like it is everything, but this is mainly contributors. Next, let us talk about the conflict's escalation. Like, as I said, the origin of difference in viewpoint. So it starts with a difference in viewpoint, but ended up into the conflict. Not only that this conflict may be escalated to enmity and, deep, revengeful things, which is extreme, condition of this kind of conflicts, or maybe the war, killing each other, this kind of things. Whatever in that people's power, they will throw at each other, and they try to, diminish or kill or make harm as much as possible. So that is the thing of the conflict escalation. Yeah. So why conflict escalates? Primarily because of the negative reactions. So any difference in viewpoint, if we magnify it with our negative reactions, like if I constantly say some bad things about someone, that conflict escalates. It started with a difference in viewpoint, but I'm just giving too much of my negative reactions to each and everything while talking or behaving, then conflict will escalate. Because remember the fundamental point that when a ego speaks, another ego reacts, or ego, gives it back. So if I'm egoistic and I'm throwing all these negative things to somebody else, which is definitely coming out of my ego, then other ego responds. Among their ego, they also have a superiority complex. So they wanted to give, one, we give it two back, like more powerful. And that way it keeps on escalating, the conflict escalation. Okay, then another point is I'm saying the emotional outburst. So if we sometimes we escalate the conflict, just being emotional, become so angry and shouting and doing something, throwing a lot of tantrums, even throwing physical objects also each other, then conflict will escalate. And the hard-hitting egoistic attitude, somebody's ego is so much, non-bendable, or what is the right term, not amendable. This is called hard-hitting egoistic. Just stick to that. It will be broken but not bent, something like that. It's called hard-hitting egoistic attitude. This kind of things, whether having this, when you take this kind of attitude, hard stance, that or tit for tat attitude, ki, okay, you have them said this thing to me, okay, take this, all this. So if we go for the hard-hitting egoistic attitude, escalates, conflict escalates. Then uncompromising view, we don't want to compromise or anything. We think that is our, badge of honor. Like, I'm not compromised with anyone. My view is the top, my way or highway. Conflict escalates. And slowly it leads to the extreme polarization. Like, there is no common ground. There is, we'll talk about little de-escalation and resolution later on, but just understand that if the conflict escalates, then we become so much away or apart that it becomes extremely difficult to get back again. Like some people or maybe some families, they have become, janam janam ke dushman. Like they don't face each other at all. So much polarized. Polarization is done many places. Even the communal harmony, they can sometimes polarize with some issues they bring, so that the two communities, they don't face each other and the enmity continues. Or the two types of, like maybe skin color, they bring so issues that the skin color of different people, they treat each other as enemy. And this is the kind of thing called polarization. And the politicians, they are very good at exploiting this kind of things. Yeah, they can make it polarized so that people fights each other, and then they can get out of it. Like they can rule it. As for example, that the British rule. They understood that if we need to rule the country like India, then we have to go for the divide and rule policy. Okay. So in the name of everything, caste system, religion, they have divided, the linguistic things. They divided many, as much division as possible, so that there are always the fight among each other. And then it is easier for them to rule. If everybody is united and they are speaking the same voice for the same common goal, it will be very difficult to rule. So that many, okay, India got independence in 1947, but many after that also tried this to divide and rule policy, to having the self-gratification or their own agenda to make sure that stays. Okay. So these are called games people play. There was a management book of Ayakokka, who was a Ford general manager, I think. Anyway, So different people play different games. It is also equally true for the boards. The corporate, and also in the different company, they also play their game, and anything. There's same thing. Divide and rule policy. They sometimes apply, and they don't want any conflict is to be settled. Like we know that the trade unionism, like the workers and the owners, there's a big gap. There is a conflict but maybe the workers, their wages are cut and all. They wanted to make a protest or stop the work and all those kind of things, and the owners, they don't like that, so they use their own tools to do that. Many places, some industry has been collapsed because of these conflicts, this kind of things between the workers and the owners. Anyway, so I hope it is understood that conflict escalation that happens when you keep on going on this negative thing and keep on energizing the differences and leading to extreme polarization when nothing is possible. Yeah. Then the question is that if we need to, de-escalate the conflict, what are the ways? What are the ways to do it? If we need a will to go ahead with that. If it is a political scenario, we need a political will to do it. So if it is between family matters, then we have that kind of de-escalation need our a will, collective will to address this, like both sides. So what are the keys to the conflict de-escalation? So de-escalation is wise response. Yeah. First point. By the way, conflict escalation, first point was negative reactions. And conflict de-escalation, I'm saying wise responses. So this the question, when it was put, it was very aptly mentioned that our reactions create 90% of the outcome. So instead of, and that also, that kind of reaction, sometimes we react automatically, which is called knee-jerk reaction. Yeah. So something just comes out from our mouth, we hit with some words or events, and we give our thing without thinking anything, without doing anything. That's called the instant reactions. And because of that habit, most of us, we have that kind of habit. Yeah. And because of that, once, words and arrows, one throw, it's gone. You cannot take it back. You can say some more things, but you cannot, it is gone. But response is not like that. It is a wise response, means it is a well thought and articulated response, which, as it is not automatic and throwing some mud to each other, as it is a response, it's a measured and it is appropriate. Yeah. And if we give response to any situation which is well thought and wise, wise means original intention is pure. Somebody is not a crooked mind, or somebody is not a criminal mind to give the response. Their response may be completely more negative than the reactions. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying wise responses can reduce de-escalate the conflict. And then behaving responsibly. We should not behave certain way that can harm others or at least insult others. Yeah. Like I was giving earlier example of somebody talking like that. This behavior is not conducive for de-escalation. So we need to learn, to aware that this is the kind of things, it's harming my relationship with other people. Anyway, behaving responsibly, then understanding it takes two hands to clap, like two to tango or something they call it in English. See, in Hindi also, the ek haath mein taali nahi bajta hai, means that conflict means there are two parties. So one clap, you need two hands to clap. If you remove one hand, then one hand itself, there will be no awaz, no? There is no sound. Only when another hand comes into play and then collapses to each other, then sound comes. With this, if we use these things, we can de-escalate. Like you can at least remove one hand, your part. Then single hand, maybe they will try a few times, but ultimately conflict will not get increased because there is no other party involved here. If other party is withdrawn or silenced intentionally, wisely, then there is a possibility the conflict will come down because there is no reaction from the other side. Then conflicts de-escalation, that accommodating others' viewpoint. Okay, this is also important. Like you see, like particularly for the say international, de-escalation, conflict, like war zone between two countries, they want some truce or something. They send some the people. They are very good at it. They are professionally at. They just see the different viewpoint, both parties, so they can come out with a formula, solution that how to come out of this or de-escalate that, and some agreement happens, then they sign. So, like they are called mediators, like they mediate between the two parties and things like that. So it can mediate between two people fighting also, two families fighting also. The mediator play this role. They understand the point of view of both. They don't join any one of the parties. They know that both of them have some positive points, some negative points. So whatever the common minimum, like what is the common, both they can agree with that they start. That is the starting point of the de-escalation. Yeah. So and also the de-escalation, knowing when to stop and what line not to cross under any provocation. Yeah. Conflict de-escalation is not possible if either party, they don't know where to stop and they don't, they can cross any border, by any minor provocation. Then de-escalation is not possible. It can go to extreme polarization. But it is possible, at least then both the parties, they know that we should not cross this line. There is no point crossing this line, So they take a wise decision. Okay, let us drop it. Okay, there is a saying called let us agree to disagree. It's a good de-escalation point. Yeah. Nobody wins, but at the same time, nobody loses also. They agree to disagree. Otherwise, there is no agreement at all. At least they agree to get to disagree. Okay, on some point. That's a good thing. That is a wise decision. They don't keep on escalating till they agree. Nobody agrees. In our, school days, we used to read one English passage. Mahatma Gandhi, I think, he has written about the arguments, and nobody can win an argument. Yeah. As such, this kind of things, that's true because nobody wants to give. They drop their ego. So things like that. But this de-escalation is possible when at least we like to understand each other and not to cross, some line or something self-imposed. It's not that somebody is forced to stop. No, then definitely that will not work. But they themselves, they know, no, it doesn't worth it going beyond it. Yeah, that's the conflict de-escalation methods. So now comes to the conflict resolution. Conflict resolution, it needs a lot of power. It not of internal power. In the first point, we touched upon that external situation projection of our inner state. For the resolve it, we have hardly anything help we can get from the external world of it. Conflict resolution means resolve permanently. It's done, finished. Yeah, that needs a lot of power, inner strength. Yeah? Those inner strength are like a self-driven. It's not externally driven. It is internally driven. So conflict resolution, how we can do that? Okay, we'll go to the spiritual part a little later. First, let us understand the resolution, how it can be done. Acceptance. Like if you can accept other person's view, other person's stand, or understand that their logic and things like that, we may accept their viewpoint as well. Then we can resolve that. Then that is a key to have a resolution. So then it is a mutual respect. We cannot resolve any conflict continue to be being enemy. Yeah. So to resolve the conflict, we should have mutual respect. We may not agree, but at least we have a respect that, okay, the other person, that person is right in his or her point of view. I'm also right in my point of view, but we respect for whatever you are for, and maybe you will respect mine. So from the mutual respect, the next point, which is honorable compromises, can be done. We come down to a level with a due respect that let us agree on some part of it, and which is a compromise, but not extremely lopsided into anybody's favor. Yeah? It is like you lose some, you gain some, another person lose some, gain some, and finally come to some honorable, like nobody is looked down upon or nobody is such a loser kind of thing. And these are honorable compromises that can the resolution can happen. Also, the best part of conflict resolution is win-win solution. Like both parties win in this case. There can be something where you can come out with a very winning formula so that both parties, they feel they are winning. So as for example, say there are in organization, there are two opposite parties, they keep on fighting. And so who will be the chairman of the organization? Say, this is the thing. They're fighting tooth and nail and things like that. So maybe that win-win solution, maybe they may agree that, okay, that from one group, there will be one chairman for, say, 6 months, that the other group, there will be another person of their group representing chairman for the next 6 months of the whole year. Yeah. So it can be a win-win solution. Like it need not to actually, nobody loses here. They know that their term is coming next 6 months. They are not losing per se. So these are the kind of thing. They can some formula they can found which will give you the win for both the parties to resolve this conflict. Yeah. So these are the things called win-win solutions, and which towards the conflict resolution. Now we are coming to a state called conflicts prevention. Resolution means something already happened. First we de-escalate and then try to resolve it. Resolve is only possible when there was a problem. Okay. So then this resolution comes, and all the what I explained last, that 20 minutes. This is about how to resolve it. Like there is a problem happened, why it happened, I explained, and how to, not to escalate and how to resolve it. Then also we came up to here. Just 1 second. Okay. All right. So now now conflict prevention is a completely different approach. Like not resolving the problem. Just we have to make sure that the problem is not starting at all. Before it take birth, it is dissolved, not resolved. So this is called conflict prevention. Means how one conflict can be prevented to start with before it takes birth and start showing its heads. Those are possible. This is almost completely spiritual in nature, as we mentioned in the beginning, that all it is the projection of our inner state. So if we work on our inner being, then we can come to a state where conflict can be prevented. Even it will not take birth, it will not start. How? It is basically self-empowerment, self-awareness. We have to be aware of our own thoughts, words, and action. We need to be aware of that. And we should not say and do something which may create some difference in opinion with somebody or some conflict eventually with somebody. So if I'm aware of my own thoughts, words, and actions, then the conflict, we may avoid the conflict altogether. Yeah. Identifying and mitigating ego play. The main reason for this conflict is our own ego. If we can identify that it is definitely coming from my ego and mitigating, reducing the effects of my ego, or put my ego on check, ego under control, then it will not, lead to any conflict. Yeah. So I'll be in a harmony with my family, with society, or the country, fellow citizens, or maybe in the internationally with even other human race altogether, or maybe with same thing with the nature and other things. Yeah. So only thing is, like, I have to know that I should not damage anything or thing with my own ego. So I fully understand, identify where my ego comes, and if I can keep my ego in check, then things will not start. Next is the liberated from self-sabotaging patterns. Sometimes we have a lot of conditionings, sometimes we have our own patterns, and these kind of patterns are sometimes self-sabotaging. Okay. Suppose, I give one my favorite example of to be right always. To be right always and say the right thing all the time, it is also an addiction. I learned it quite late in my life. Yeah. So self-sabotaging pattern is I'm going everywhere and I fight for the right thing to thing like that. So maybe in this, by doing so, just establishing right blindly, maybe I'm harming my own standing, or like I'm not been like accommodative to my environment. Who asked me or who empowered me to go and fight each and everything onto this planet Earth? Not me. Okay. I will do only my particular job, my particular work, my particular life, with the best of my ability. I'm not there to take everybody's all the wrong things into the world and start fighting, and this kind of things, and sometimes going to self-sabotaging patterns. Like we don't know where to stop, not to cross any line. So when you're in the fast running, then we don't know when we cross the limit. We don't know when we hurt others. We don't know, what I said, what should not be said, in the name of right thing to do, That become a problem. So who created the problem? It's me only. In the, putting the right thing and all this, in the name of that, I just gone into some area, there is no way back. So it becomes this kind of thing. I'm just giving one example. There can be many. So these are self-sabotaging patterns. Like also I was again giving the example of talking like this. Yeah, it is self-sabotaging pattern. I don't know that I'm doing this, but it is hurting my relationships, hurting my credential, hurting my communication to others, to the world. This pattern, this attitude, or this habit, habit is self-sabotaging. I need to be aware, I need to learn. That is a self-awareness. To prevent it, I should be aware that each and everything, the way I express myself, it's not that I don't have a right to express. You definitely do. But see how. My teaching is no harm to anything or anyone. If you don't harm anyone or anything, it's fine. No problem. Go ahead with that. But if that behavior become offensive to somebody else, if what you are saying, it is offensive to somebody, then you have to control. It will give rebuff. So that is called self-sabotaging pattern. So it is not that I'm right, so everything, so I don't care who thinks about it. This is also self-sabotaging pattern. You don't care about anything, it's okay. You don't care about anything, but when the others also give the reaction, you have to absorb that. They also have equal right, they have a free will. If they don't like it, they will throw it on your face. Yeah, you have to have a capacity to absorb that as well. Okay. All right. Then conflict prevention is maintain. This is the key. Maintain calm mind and inner peace under any circumstances. Yeah. We give excuses. That time I was angry and he said something bad to me, or they have done this damage to me, and all those kind of, they justify why they react negatively. There is no excuse. You have to maintain your calm to mind, and inner peace need to be maintained all the time. Yeah. Yes, if somebody doing it intentionally, and there is a criminal, you have to punish the criminal, of course. Okay. But even giving punishment also should be in a calm mind, wisely, appropriately. And you still do it, but your inner part will not be disturbed. Your inner peace is maintained. And this is the spiritual win. To have this maintaining calm mind and inner peace, no matter of what the external circumstances, you need to have the spiritual tool to attain that kind of level of mind. Yeah, then that is where the last point comes out, the spiritual tools, how we achieve it. So it's now we understood it's all about coming from my within. So I need to do my inner reconstruction, or rebuild my internal stuff, so that I can maintain my calm mind, I can have the inner peace under any circumstances. Yeah? How to do that? Those are the spiritual tools we use. First thing we need to practice witnessing, Shakshi Vav, witness consciousness. We should not run our life as a player into this, participant on the events. We should start being in this life as a witness. Same as our soul consciousness. Soul consciousness never interferes. It's just be in the witness mode all the time. Unless until we connect spiritually and all this, is a different thing. Whatever our soul does in our life, try to be that. We just become witness. वो क्या कर लेगा? End of the day, one point of time you have to leave your body, you have to leave your bank balance, you have to leave your property, leave your relationship, all relationships, and all like a degree, diploma, or position in the office, or whatever it is. Everything you have to let go. So when you are in it, if you just be as a witness, and then you live your life just being witness, it is a big spiritual tool. I think there is a story of a king, I'm not sure, it's a Shivaji, or, I'm just missing. When, spiritual master came to his, this thing, and he was asking, so please tell me, what I can offer to you. So whatever you want, I can give it to you. The king says, then truly, yes, I am king. I can give you anything. Okay, it's all right. Then you give me your kingdom. And that particular king actually put his crown onto the feet of that the master, spiritual master, and that master then sit into the throne. Singhasan mein jaake baith gaya. That spiritual master wearing that. Now everybody else is watching you. Wow, what is this? Okay. Then the spiritual master is telling to the king, now I am the king now. So I am ordering you to run the whole country as its servant, not as a king. Because I got that kingdom now. Now I'm giving you order to do it. Then he put the crown back and all. This is the big lesson he is giving to the king. He is telling you, no one to give me anything. Okay, this kingdom is not yours. You got it, yes. It is your duty to run it. You don't own it. So after this incident, that king, their actual level, become a shakshiva because he doesn't own it. So it is like doing the duty on somebody's behalf. And that is actually the witness consciousness. I think this call may get dropped at any time. Just let me quickly check how much time is left. Just give me a minute.
3 minutes, Guruji.
3 minutes, huh? Okay. Just give me 1 second. I will just normally save the attendees, list of attendees. Let me save it before the session ends. All right. I think all of us then we will join into that. Maybe another just less than almost 1 minute and a half left. Fine. We'll do one thing. I will post another link, and then all of us please join back into that link. So I'm just closing this first part of it. So we'll see you all into the second half of this session. Okay. Oh my God. All right. I think most of us, we have joined back. We'll continue the second half of our discussion. So we were earlier discussing about the spiritual tools we use for the conflict prevention, or just how not to be in any situation where it can happen, or how to maintain the calm mind, inner peace under any circumstances. For that, we were going for the spiritual tool. So next point is about witness consciousness. I have just mentioned about Sakshi Bhav, to be in the witness mode all the time. So you are not a participant, you are not the king who is running your kingdom. You are just witnessing and running it, provide a service on somebody else's behalf, in this case to the creator. If you go to that mode, that particular, it's a big, powerful tool, so that there'll be no such issues. You'll get dragged into the conflict and things like that. Next is aloof attention. So this witness consciousness, what you need to do is not only witnessing, you should be aloof with the content of it. We already practice like in a third step of our 6-step meditation, like Chitta Upasana, where we practice aloof attention. Means we should not get affected by the content of any thought. Like it's a good thought, bad thought, ugly thought, and why I'm thinking this, I'm sitting in meditation, this kind of thing. So there should not be, you witness it, you observe it, it is passing through, but not get affected by the content. That is called aloof attention. It's a spiritual tool, it needs a practice. If I get affected by my thought, maybe it will trigger my emotion, and that emotion I will react badly. It all starts with aloof attention. If I'm watching what is going on in my mind, before any action taken at the thought stage itself, I don't react to it, then the reaction will not happen to start with. At the origin itself, it will be neutralized. So there is no way I can go further into that, further into a state where actually I'm reacting to anything, onto that external world. Yeah. So, or even if I need to give anything, any feedback, it is wise responses, like well thought. So the fundamental difference being giving a reacting mode and responsive mode. Key thing is that witnessing, aloof attention. If you are not getting affected by the content, then there is a place. The next point is about the gap awareness. So let me explain it in view of the gap awareness. So where is that gap? Gap is between some stimuli. Stimuli means which causes it. Cause and action. In this case, reaction or response. Yeah. So when some action comes, the reaction, if we have a gap between these two, action and reaction, in that gap, there is a possibility that we are not going into the react mode. Our wise decisions or wise things comes into the play. If there is no gap, it is always a reaction, knee-jerk reaction. But that, if we are aware of that, we practice some gap awareness. So we do it in the 5th step, meditation. If we are in a gap awareness, always there is a gap between the stimuli, what is external world is throwing at us, and how we respond. The gap allows us that to happen. Because of that gap, we can actually watching that what is going on, and then whatever is wise decisions comes out, the response is happen fraction of a second. I'm not saying you have to think about it for 2 hours and then talk about it. No. Only response comes almost immediately. But as we are already in the witness mode, so we don't react. Because of that gap, maybe fraction of a second, few milliseconds, that's good enough. By the time you give your response. So that is a spiritual tool to convert the reactions reaction-based, feedback to respond-based feedback. And as originally we discussed that our reaction creates the 90% of the problem, but if you always gives that response, because you are in the witness constructive with aloof attention, you are not get affected by the content, and there is a gap, so that you can bring power of your consciousness and use that your wisdom to give the feedback. Then all the reactions getting that 90% almost disappears, and whatever you give is a response. So this is all the spiritual masters and all, they always respond. There is no such thing called reaction. Even if the reaction is sometimes harsh, there are many instances. Even the master thappar bhi mar deta hai, danda bhi mar deta hai. But of course, those are the things out of compassion. That is for the ultimate good of the seeker, or just to unko jo ego hai usko bhagane ke liye. Sometimes the master the insult, even my Guruji also, he has done it many times. So just not because that all negative qualities are angry or jealous or this, nothing of that sort. It's because by this hard hitting, your ego will run away. The part when you feel bad about if some master said you something, or behave something that we don't like, and some insult that you cannot take it, even though that other person is a master, the area which is feeling bad, that is your ego. That has to go. Mahatma Gandhi said, if somebody slaps you, put your other face or gaal aage kar do. Why? Is he a fool? So why should I one slap? I will give another slap. Why should I give my another side of my cheek to gaal aska aage kyun karna hai? But it doesn't make sense into our normal way of life, but it makes complete sense into the spiritual thing. Because if somebody is just creating some action, that person will bind karma for sure. Okay, but if it is I received it and I have a power to absorb it, I don't give any reaction. Rather, if in my power I can have that to overpower with this, so to put my other side of the face up, it needs immense strength. So, and that strength comes from the spirituality, spiritual power. So in this case, that person who can do that, they are operating from much higher state, and they don't have any ego. Otherwise, it is not possible to do it that way. Anyway, so it is a different issue that when a spiritual master, things like that, they are doing everything out of compassion. They don't need anything from you. They don't have to establish superiority from anybody else. It doesn't need it. They understood it. These are all useless. This kind of concept, idea, winning and superiority, those are all useless. Most of the enlightened people, you will not even know that person is enlightened. Very simple, humble person. Some people consider the humbleness is a weakness. That also coming from another aspects of ego. They're humble because not because of somebody else, because of the seeing the vastness of the Creator. I'm just telling, for example, I'm just telling at the when the Guru Kripa happened, yeah, I didn't achieve anything. It only the divine grace, Babaji's grace. When the Guru Kripa happened, the truth is revealed. Such a strong, powerful truth is revealed to you. This is the truth of the universe or world or life or whatever it is, truth. Looking at the truth, first thing whatever happens, अपना बोलती बंद हो जाता है, you know. And if you use some slang, हिंदी तो एकदम लग जाते हैं, पूरा लग जाता है और फट जाता है एकदम. All whatever your construction was before, the way of your leading a life, just in that moment everything shutters and you are exposed to huge truth. And that truth, it is like just somebody has been lived, in a bunker for maybe 1 year and never see a sunlight. Suddenly you come out and looking at the sun. What will happen to you? Extreme overwhelming, the blinding kind of brightness you will be in, and that kind of thing. Surya Kati Samaprabha. In the truth, then when you see the truth, all छोटा मोटा जो हम लोग fight करते रहते हैं, I'm better than you, bigger than you, this, that become like a minor noises there in that, hugely loving, extremely powerful, extremely bright, huge light, love and light in that truth. Rest of your life you realize the truth, so you become humble to that such a enormous power, enormous beauty, enormous love, and that makes them humble. If they have nothing to with anybody else, it doesn't matter. How does it matter to say something at soul level? Even one human life itself is very small dot. Forget about who said what to somebody into that dot. Doesn't matter. Eventually, yeah. So they don't allow these kind of small few dust particles disturb their path. Yeah? Okay, you're walking the path, lot of dust are there. One of them. That's it. That's how I look at it, the life. Or life means other people saying something about you and this kind of stuff. You know your journey. You are going to some destination. You are destined to it. You are just walking, and these small things. Maybe thoda sa, if not dust, maybe some kankar patthar hoga thoda sa. Okay, thoda sa chuba. Okay, get out there. Like that. Okay. Anyway, so these are how to go there. These are the spiritual tools that what we are discussing now to go into that. So from gap awareness, then the most powerful thing when you invoke, it is about how you operate, interact, or interface of your external world. That is what it is. Witness consciousness, aloof attention, and gap awareness. What is the power you bring to this so that there is no conflict in your life? And that powerful tool is self-love. You cannot operate from any level. What we started our discussion, that all starts from within. It's our inner state, which reflected outside. But in my inner state, how can it be there will be no conflict? Because I know myself very well. So there will be some good area, bad area of myself. There is always self-criticism, self-thing going on. Sometimes we express, sometimes we don't. Somebody is even self-critical. They take themselves, जब भी ये बंदा मुंह खोलता है, कुछ भी करता है, कुछ ना कुछ problem ही होता है, through themselves. They know it. These are some people, this is the truth. There's a fact. Anyway, how to deal with that? You need to forget about interaction. You cannot interact with anything but you don't have. If there is any transaction in the external world, how can you transact when you don't have it? So, first, if you empower yourself with a self-love, that is, then you build your inner strength and power. And those kind of things, so powerful, you don't really need for any conflict. Because that is self-fulfilling, self-love. It is like a sunlight. It doesn't need to borrow some light from someone, some other star or something. It itself is giving it. It is like a, fragrance of a flower. It itself is giving. You need to borrow something and put some, spray, what is called Dior or whatever, channel thing like, no need. It itself expressing naturally. And it is just self-expression. That's why the self-love is. We all are made of pure love. I said many times this truth. We are all like a manifestation of love, pure love, prema sarupa. Okay, human being, or in fact, any being. So when we go into that core, we'll get pure love. Why not to just dust off all the layers on top of it and bring it, which is there within you? Every one of us, there is no exception. We agree, disagree, those are the mind play, but it is what it is. Okay, we are made of that. Anyway, so this becomes your source of power, like power generation, power plant inside you. It gives all the power to rest of the things, your lives. Yeah. So that is a self-love. Then, operating from the higher domain where conflict does not exist. This also is come from the enlightened living. What is enlightened living? You are operating, don't operate from this three-dimensional or the lower level, because this is called it is a domain of duality, good, bad, like, dislike, polar opposites are there. I'm not saying it wrong, because there is nothing right, nothing wrong in there. When you go to the spiritual level, or soul consciousness level, it is the unity consciousness. Like there is no such thing called duality, good, bad, and things like that. Like, dislike, love, hate, nothing, not like that. Yeah. So it is that in that, the unity consciousness, if you raise your life, you operate from that level, there will be no conflict. Because everything is just an event. Everyone, they are unique. They are all respectable. They are all fine. They are all came from the same creator. Everything is fine. It is different expressions of the same creator. So when it is different expression of the same creator, and you are also created by that, so there is no difference. Okay, it's just like unique characteristics are there, and that's it. Who am I to judge it? Who am I to fight with it? Who am I to say a wrong, bad thing about it? No, but there, good luck. I am also there. Okay, last time I shared some, in one of the question answer in the group, I shared the Guruji's, Pragyanandji's teaching. It's appreciate all, criticize none. Means you have to appreciate anyone. So people say, how can I appreciate everybody? Because that time you are operating from self-love. You don't need to look the bad things. Criticize none. There is nothing to be criticized about. You are the way you are. Okay. The elephant is too big, or an ant is too small, that has got 4 legs, 6 legs. Doesn't matter, the way it is. There's no need to say you are too big, or no need to say too small. There's no such thing called big and small. Elephant it is an elephant. Ant, it is an ant with all its characteristics. That's it. There is no big, small, good, bad, ugly, beautiful. Nothing is there. They're unique, and we appreciate the uniqueness. Okay, so this is the unity consciousness, and that's how when operate from it, the most of the conflict doesn't arise at all, because we are fully aligned with the divine principles and the pure love in me. I'm operating through it. That's it. Everything is fine. Everything is good. And the last point I mentioned about the oneness, experiencing oneness in each moment. So if you evolve spiritually further, you landed up into a zone called oneness with the Creator. You understand that you are the Creator. You are the whatever happening in your life, it is you are the co-creator of that. That's the one, the universal consciousness, the creator, and the soul consciousness is the co-creator of that. Nothing happens in our life without permission of our soul. Or most of the time, forget about permission. It is created by our soul for us to experientially understand something, experientially learn lessons, many things, or make us stronger being. So that in our soul's journey, that ultimately we become, when we complete it, we become highly experienced, highly powerful being. Okay, so and that is if it is we are in the oneness, then everything is an expression of me in my highest self. Like my seventh body is same as with anybody else, or whoever has come into the history, or whoever will future come, they are all same, coming from the same body, seventh. So if that is the oneness, if I am the one, this is a different part of one. Like Amarjyoti ji gives a very good example. Say, how can it be? It's come from one. I see many. Well, you're not many. Those are all like pieces of the mirror. When there is suppose there are small. Suppose a mirror is broken into 1,000 pieces. Each piece of the mirror will reflect the sun. Sun is only one, but when you look at those mirrors, you will see thousands of sun, everyone giving light to you. Okay, but those are reflections. Those are not the source. Source is only one. Anyway, so everybody coming from the same source and reflecting that. Maybe some shape is little different, like a glass pieces, mirror pieces, little different, and doesn't matter. Why to conflict? We are all came from the same source, ultimately merge with the same source. There is no, there is no somebody else. Ramana Maharshi says, who is others? Somebody asked him some questions, how can I deal with others? Who is others? I don't see any others. No one. Because he's operating from the unity consciousness, the oneness. He doesn't see somebody else as a different person or different thing. All he sees is coming from the same creator. We are all same. It's like 5 fingers in a body, in a hand. Okay, finger to finger, they maybe came from the same source, same body, so there is no conflict. You never see two fingers fighting with each other, or even other hand fighting with, never. Because why? We consider it coming from the same body. Now, enhance it to the level of creator. Came from the same creator. We are the branch of the part of the same body, the one, the consciousness, the unity consciousness. Universal consciousness. Fight to fight. Fight ends. No conflict. Conflict does not arise. The question even doesn't arise. Everything in that level, everything is good harmony, good balance, or all are experiencing itself. That's it. Somebody else is experiencing himself or herself. I am also doing same thing. I'll come from same source, go back to the same source. That's it. That is a level of awareness. That is a living in the oneness. All the masters, spiritual masters, they live life like that. Oneness. Everything is fine, everything is good, everything is nice, everything just an event, just an experience. But there is no one to claim that it is mine. Okay, I'm witnessing. So many things happening. Witnessing. Again, one particular, fine morning or night, this stream will stop and merge it back to the source, and that's it. We'll take the experiences. That kind of life. So there is no conflict, the full harmony. In the process, you emitting the love and light, because that is your true nature. That primordial energy, love and light. You just express that way. That is your life. Okay. So with this, we conclude today's learning session. So if there is any question, I will love to answer them or address them. Okay. Indranilda.
Yes, thank you for a very good session. Thank you very much. I have two questions. The first one is, how do you differentiate between self-love and narcissism? That is the first question.
Okay. Okay, let me answer this first. Self-love, as I said, that nothing to do with self-love is coming from within the source you connected. We are made of that. Okay. It is not dependent on anybody else. I can, just like the sunlight I have given, sunlight doesn't need some tree to receive it, some people to receive it, some animal to receive it, or even the planet Earth to receive it. Whether it's there or not there, it will still express itself.
Correct.
Okay. Like always, I give a smaller version of it. It's like a flower in the jungle. It always gives fragrance, whether there is somebody to take it or leave it.
Right.
That is true nature coming from within. That is self-love. Okay. Narcissism is something else. Narcissism is again coming from the ego, which wants to establish superiority on others. They are expressing their ego, not true nature.
Okay.
Okay, so first one, the self-love is expressing its core, what is it made of.
Right.
And other one is narcissism is expressing the twisted version is the ego, egoistic superiority on others. Okay, so this is a completely two different things. And even compared, this is a complete
ego. The differentiator is ego.
Yeah. Basically, that is a one ego play, narcissism.
Yeah.
And self-love has nothing to do with ego.
Okay. Thank you. Second question is, in case of a conflict, suppose, obviously there are two parties in a conflict. Suppose the party who is not at fault, okay? Now, in case of a de-escalation when required, the party not at fault can take a step to de-escalate?
Oh, yes.
Or apologize? I don't know how. I mean...
Yeah. No, I understood. It is possible. See, the goal is de-escalation.
Correct.
It is not to see, I mentioned earlier, to be right is also another addiction. Yeah.
Yes.
Some party is not at fault. It is that person's view. We don't know.
Okay.
As I was telling, somebody is talking like that person feels I am not at fault.
Right.
Even he doesn't know that talking like that making others offensive. So he will never feel that he has done anything wrong to apologize.
Okay.
Okay. All about what I'm saying is, it is about his own view, who is right and who is wrong.
Got it.
Apology or whatever, the tool which is meant for de-escalation,
yes.
So like agreement or acceptance, what I mentioned is the honorable compromise. Let us use that word.
Okay.
Not apology. Okay.
Right.
Honorable compromise, like without diminishing yourself, you can still just you can go and say, okay, let us leave it behind. Jo ho gaya, so ho gaya. Let us move on.
Right.
Okay, we'll not escalate it further. Let us leave it there. And that one of the thing I mentioned also, agree to disagree. Like that.
Right.
Okay. So in this case, what happens that you are using as a tool to de-escalate. You're touching your identity with it. Like इसमें मेरा बेइज्जती हो गया, नहीं इसमें मेरा जो है ना सर ऊंचा हो गया. That is your view of looking at things.
Right.
Whatever way you achieve, if something says sorry and that happens, how does it matter if I say sorry? I mean, who cares? Like that. So you can use it as a tool And
Okay.
if it makes that thing, it's fine. You can do that.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. God bless you. All right. Any other question? Vani? Okay. Go ahead.
Guruji, I have a simple question. People like me who have not achieved full enlightenment or even like half of it, if there is a conflict
Before you
arising.
go further, hold on. Don't forget the question. I'll want to make a remark here. People who has not achieved enlightenment, etc. These things, remember that we are all are work in progress.
Yeah.
If we have finished the work, then we are not here on the planet Earth.
Okay.
Enlightenment is not end of the journey. One big milestone, yes, not end of it. So all of us are work in progress.
Okay.
You need to be just better version of yourself what you had been yesterday. That's it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we are all walking our unique path. Whether we have achieved the enlightenment or enlightenment cannot be achieved is a Guru Kripa. But I'm just saying for the sake of saying that whoever has not achieved the enlightenment and who achieved enlightenment, it is just like somebody is wake up from sleep and somebody is still sleeping.
Okay.
Somebody is sleeping and somebody is awakened or waked up. Who is sleeping is not a criminal. When he or she will wake up, he will see the truth and that's it. Okay. I'm just making the point clear. Now you go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Thank you for that. What I wanted to ask is when we are doing some duty, we think it is our duty and we have a right. We are fighting for a right or something. Then we have that conflict, right? So when it is involved with a lot of our efforts, something like that, then we cannot be in the witness mode. We get like emotional.
Yeah.
So, what is the best way to like at least to reduce the stress or to I can't go into a witness mode. I know that because I'm still not there. So, how can I do something to reduce the stress?
Okay. So regulations, then you have to work on your expectation from others, from the world. Expectation. You have to learn how to not to expect anything. Witness mode, it is a skill, it needs practice. Best thing is to get detached from it, which is spiritual state, detached state. Detachment doesn't mean running away from it. Detachment means you are in it. You are doing everything. You are, working, walking, sleeping, everything, but like a normal human being. Only internally you are detached. Why? Because you created the gap so that the other thing doesn't affect you directly. Okay, that is your mechanism to connect with something which will not get easily disturbed. Before you reach there, you practice like expectation. Yeah, you do your bit, and rest is okay, fine. If it happens, is good. If it doesn't happen, then also it is good. It's fine. So then when we reduce the expectation, less the expectation, higher will be our satisfaction or happiness. Just directly work on expectation. Yeah. You expect somebody will say some good things about you. That person may or may not be. But I cannot lose my peace of mind based on that expectation. What we call it, you are giving your controlling power, the key to control you, to somebody else. What the person says or doesn't say makes you affected, become emotional. You have to work on that so that at least the expectation is not there.
But Guruji, in this world where we live, there's so much of law and order, and people start to remembering only like negative things to bring it up, something like that, right? I mean, this is like really like very disturbing.
Yeah. So that disturbance happening where?
In ourselves, right?
Yeah.
In our mind.
Control the environment. You cannot control outside.
Mm-hmm.
Control that, reprogram that,
Mm-hmm.
so that even if somebody does something, you don't get affected. That is the key. And use those spiritual tools, I have said, to attain there. It is a practice. That is a sadhana is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It needs practice. I'm not saying overnight you can decide, okay, now I'm spiritual, I'm detached. Nothing of that will happen. You do get affected. And you can slip off sometime, maybe few months you're okay, you didn't react, but once certain something happens, and you reacted, badly, it's okay. It is a part of the, development process. It's fine. Allow yourself to slip also. Be comfortable with the journey. Yeah, no journey is straightforward and right up to the top. All the journey has got pros and cons, and obstacles and things like that. Just treat that, what I call it, treat it as an adventure rather than adversity.
Okay.
Then it will be easier to work. Because if you take it, jo challenge aayega, dekha jayega, like a big sportsman, they take challenges, no?
Yeah.
In fact, invite others, suppose some boxing or, kusti or badminton, whatever. They invite who is the most powerful one to, opponent to get more, so that they can make them more powerful. Like the players, somebody thinks that I'm very extremely good chess player, so they invite somebody of maybe national champion or something to play with.
Yeah.
So that they can at least check themselves that where they stand into this one. So same here, take the obstacles like that. Big obstacle, big challenge. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. I know that you have already said we will not get a challenge that we cannot face. So
correct.
That is something that to remember.
Yeah, true.
Thank you. Thank you.
We do have the power to overcome any challenge we may face in our life.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, Shushmita, go ahead.
Namaskar, Guruji.
Namaskar.
I just wanted to ask, I just began this journey with you. How I can handle people. I don't want to handle actually in the conflict situation where people are harming or even killing other life, animals or that sort of thing. When it happens, that sort of thing, how can I handle myself in that situation?
Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel too much for them. I cannot control my emotion there. So how can I handle myself there?
Okay. So there are multiple ways to deal with it. Okay. First thing you ask, am I responsible for it or not? If it is your duty to take care of them, whatever, animal or anybody, if it is your duty to take care and you are not doing your duty, then you have to do your duty. But if it is not your duty, okay, or it is not, you don't own that particular animal or anything, then that particular animal came with their own fate. They're born with their own set of things, and that's why they have to face whatever in their life. You cannot do anything about it. You have to understand that we don't have all the power to control others. We do our bit. That is the best we can do. But we cannot take care of everything or everyone else. What we can do, this is the practical part of it. Okay, now I'm telling the spiritual part of it. Spiritually, we have many tools. Okay, if you cannot do anything, at least you can pray for it, no? That is free. You can pray for that particular, please, Creator, you created that animal. No. It cannot speak, it cannot express itself. People are torturing that animal. Please take care of it. You pray every day. But if you say, I'm just saying, not you, there are some people say, oh, pray karne se kya hota? What will happen to the pray and all? Okay, if nothing happens with the pray, that means you don't believe that there is a power greater than yourself, which can be invoked, who created the whole universe. They cannot take care of this. If yourself don't believe, then nothing will happen. With full devotion, you connect and pray, definitely it will be answered. And with a full faith in praying, otherwise there is no point. Don't think that, I'm not saying you, I'm saying, I tell them, they don't think that the prayers are useless things. They're not practical. It is one way, it is true, they are not practical in the third dimensional reality. But they are the core, that energy to which we connect to our creator, who created everything. We connect to that and then request, please take care of that. There are other techniques also called energetic protection and loving protection. Many other things are there. We can invoke that, even if in case of animals. The animal can be healed. If you know a particular master who does healing, you request him or her, can you heal this? It is beyond my control. I cannot do anything. You can request that to that master, please, send healing to that poor animal. Master will do it. Okay, there are many things you can. Okay, the spiritual in nature, practically you are limited because you don't own that particular animal. It's a very limited choice. If you don't own, you don't have 100% responsibility of where it moves, where it goes, and how it interacts with others. You don't have it. So what my advice is, don't even claim it. No need to fight with others and create conflict with others because of that. You pray directly to the creator and ask that, okay, please take care of that. It is your baby, you take care of it. You created that. And I cannot see the suffering of that animal. Please take care of that. You pray daily.
Thank you, Rishi.
All right. Okay. God bless you. Okay. Any other question? I think we don't have much time left. Okay. Fine. We'll do our 2 rounds of Kriya and meditation. So, by the way, I think I got a request to, tomorrow, Sunday, we'll record our full 5 mudras. 5 mudras Kriya and